Guys, we're back. We're taking a look at another profession for Wrath of the Lich King Classic. How can we make gold with tailoring? What's the best approach? So obviously we'll just take a look at the recipe types first. What can you craft? Well, most of it is various forms of cloth armor. That's the main thing. With tailoring, unexpectedly. No, it's very expected. There's a bunch of leveling recipes that are less relevant. You have a starter PvP set, which might be relevant for sale, and then we have some epic recipes. In addition to that, interestingly, we have the magnificent flying carpet and a couple of lower level flying carpets. They can only be used by other tailors, and some of them are bind and pickup, so not super interesting. Then we have the spell thread enchants for your pants, as usual, and we have some bags, upgraded bags. You can now get 20 and 22 slaughters. And the specialty cloth with a cooldown make a return, same as in TBC. So that's the type of stuff you can craft. You also get some stuff for yourself, but we're not really going to look at the PvE benefits. We're going to look at the gold making benefits here. So the most important niche for tailoring is, in my opinion, the most important thing that we can actually make a lot of money in is pre-raid gearing, initial gearing. What are people going to put on the moment they hit level 80? What are people going to put on early on when they roll an alt and want to get some gear going? So we have this Deathchill Cloak recipe. This is a crafted cloak. We're going to take a look. The way you get this recipe is actually going to make this potentially one of the best gold makers the entire expansion for tailoring, at least early on. Outside of that, there's nothing that's like pre-raid best in slot. But the Ebon Weave robes and the epics using the specialty cloth, they fill a role. The best choice is of course the tier piece, which you can buy for 80 emblems of heroism, but that's going to take a while, and maybe you want to prioritize other slots first. That's going to depend a little bit from class to class, but this one gives you a ton of hit. So I think that the Ebon Weave set in particular is going to be very interesting for pre-raid gearing. We might see some movement on the Moon Shroud and the Spell Weave. Spell Weave gives haste, which I think people are going to prioritize less in early gearing. Moon Shroud is more for healers with a lot of spirit on it. But these are BOE this time around, the epic pieces. They were BOP, of course, in TBC, which means that they have a lot more potential. They're also item level 200, which is relatively high. If it wasn't for the fact that they were in the same slot as the tier pieces, they'd probably be really, really good. Now they're just going to be pretty good. But these are the recipe types that I think are going to be most important. It's stuff that goes into pre-raid gearing and stuff that people are going to buy instantly at level 80 to get an item level boost, to get so they can do their dungeons faster, do everything else, kill raid bosses, the works. Now, other items, we have the bags. Frostweave bag, 20 slaughter, requires just imbued Frostweave, and then we have the glacial bag down here, which requires Moon Shroud and Ebon Weave, 2 of the specialty cloth. This is a 22 slaughter. As you'll also notice, this one is locked behind the Sons of Hodir reputation. Now, this is going to be something that a lot of players are going to want to farm anyway, because of the shoulder enchant. You need to get it all the way to Exalted. So if you're planning to do tailoring, this is definitely something you'll want to look into. If you can get this bag early, you can probably get a lot of sales. Bags are going to remain a steady seller, but usually the profit margin isn't super high. So I don't think this is the most important thing to focus on. Then you have the 2 epic spell threads, the Sapphire and the Brilliant. A lot of DPS are probably going to prefer the Brilliant one, because 20 spirit might impact their damage, whereas 30 stamina, which this one, it just isn't going to have an impact on your damage. I think effect in practicality, having more HP is probably better than 20 spirit, but people are just going to follow the guides, which means most of them will want Brilliant Spell Thread, which means that you will want to focus your wear the Tabard of the Argent Crusade and focus your reputation there early on. This is probably the best of these, which unless you want a specific item, then I'd want to push Argent Crusade to Exalted and then go for Current Tour afterwards for the other Spell Thread recipe. The rest of the reputation recipes are just like herb bags, shard bags, whatever. The market for those is generally very, very small. Most people prefer the general purpose bag, so I'd literally completely ignore these. Get them if you get them. Maybe there's some profit there. I don't really expect it at all. Now, the most interesting one of them all, the Deathchill Cloak. The pre-raid best in slot cloak for a lot of casters. And you learn the recipe from your trainers after you've completed the Lore Master of Northrend achievement. You need to crank through all of the quests in all of the zones. Alright, not all of them, but a certain number. A lot of quests. This is gonna take a while. This is very, very time consuming, very boring. Loads of people are not going to do this, not even going to know about it. And we all know what that means, right? Few people doing it, potentially in demand recipe, very useful item. Well, you can make a lot of gold here. This is the crown jewel of tailoring from a gold making perspective, in my opinion. That's the Deathchill Cloak. And if you are planning to have a tailor for gold making, and that's going to be your main, then you will want to level using quests only. You will not want to do dungeons almost at all. Maybe for the quests if they count for the achievement. I haven't actually looked that up. But you will want to level doing quests only, to get as far as possible before hitting level 80 on the way to the Lore Master of Northrend achievement. And then you just have to finish the zones, grind them out, and then you want to advertise in trade chat all day, every day, sell as many cloaks as you can before anyone else gets the recipe. Even if you're a little slower to market, there's probably going to be loads of movement here. I was selling Bracers of Havoc, the pre-raid best in slot bracers in TBC Classic, for a very long time for a profit. So getting the Deathchill Cloak recipe is definitely like the main focus, I would say, if you want to make gold with tailoring. Outside of that, you want to get to max level crafting as soon as possible. And that's because of what I said at the beginning. The pre-raid gearing, that's where the money is going to be. Which means that you want to be skill level 440, so you can have the top level recipes ready and be able to craft them before people hit level 80 in mass. Or at least when the majority of people start gearing up. You want to be there and have your items available on the auction house. So that means you will want to level up tailoring within the first 3 to 4 days at the latest, and then you'll want to be cranking out bags, cranking out epics as long as they sell. Just craft one of each and see if they sell. And definitely crafting out the specialty cooldown cloth as well. That is going to be a bottleneck for crafting the ebon weave robes and all of that stuff. You need enough ebon weave to craft it. This one takes 8 ebon weave. So that's going to take a couple of days to get going. There's also the potential here to have professionals with just at level 68, just enough to get max level tailoring, crank them up to the level where they can craft the specialty cloth 415, and utilize that to get more cloth early on, so you can make more money. Probably a lot of the profit is going to be in the daily cooldowns or the cooldowns, but overall I expect the ebon weave in particular to sell quite well. So that's it. Take advantage of the early gearing. The first month probably going to be the most profitable month for maybe for the entire expansion for tailoring. This is when people are spending their big GDKP war chests gearing their characters. If you can be among the first players on your realm with Deathchill Cloak, then that's the #1 priority. And then you just add in the rest as you get it. I don't think tailoring is going to be the most profitable profession overall, but there's definitely some potential with being early to market with pre-raid gearing. So do that, get your lore master, and get your gold. We'll see you in Wrath.